Hello world, this is Random Fix, and in this video today we're going to be changing the oil on this 2019 plus Mercedes Sprinter 907 VS30 Turbo Diesel 3.0. So in this video today I'm going to show you how to change the oil filter, which is right down there. We're going to go ahead and do this safely. I'm going to show you how to reset the service reminder light and then also how to check your oil level, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and we're going to be changing the oil on this 2019 and newer Mercedes-Benz Sprinters. So in the video link down below, I will have links to anything that you need for the video, including the parts, some tools, and let me show you how to get this done now. I got my vehicle here. This is going to be the oil filter right down here. I'm going to show you guys how to get this off without actually removing any components up here. This is going to be the oil filler. This is where we're going to go ahead and put the oil back in. Underneath the vehicle we have an oil catch pan, and this vehicle takes 13.2 quarts of motor oil here, and that is going to be a lot of oil, so make sure you got yourself a big catch pan like that. I have these flashcards in here so it won't go ahead and stain my driveway. And to remove this down here you need a 13mm socket, and it's going to go ahead and come off. Behind there is a little crush washer which you want to go ahead and get, and I'll have a link to that in the video description down below. And one thing with the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, since this is my second one and I used to work at a shop, so I worked on these vehicles a lot, the oil will go ahead and sit towards the passenger side. So if you go ahead and jack up the passenger side just a little tiny bit, you'll actually be able to get a lot more oil out, maybe a half a quart. So over here I have a floor jack, and you want to go ahead and lift right here. However, just be very careful when you are going to go and do this, and do not get under the vehicle when it's on the floor jack like that. So this is the motor oil that I'm using here. We got the liquid moly. I got the 5W40 because I'm here in California and it's a little hotter. We have a man oil filter remover right here, the wrench, and this comes in a set with these other ones down here, and this is a great tool set to actually have if you work on European vehicles. And to get the oil filter off, you're going to need a 22mm. That's going to go right on top of this, and you're going to go ahead and back that off. We have the 13mm for the drain plug right here. I have a drain plug remover here in case your oil is hot. You can go ahead and use one of these to avoid getting burnt. I have a pick or a screwdriver to go ahead and get access to some of the seals that are included in this oil filter kit, and you want to make sure you change these seals. I have a torque wrench here that's set to 18 foot-pounds of torque or 25 newton meters, and we have an oil funnel right here to go ahead and avoid any spills and get that oil back inside the vehicle here. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this from start to finish, and you'll find a bunch of these links and any parts that you need in the video description down below. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and remove the oil filter right here. I'm going to go ahead and back this out using that 22mm right from up here. So you want to get that nice and loose, but do not remove it because we want the oil to actually drain down. And again, you want to give this about 3 to 4 turns, but do not remove it all the way because we don't want the oil going down the front. And next we're going to go ahead and remove the oil drain plug here. And one tip is, if you go ahead and grab yourself a regular piece of cardboard here, the oil is most likely going to go ahead and spray towards the driver's side wheel. So you can use this as a blocker to go ahead and get that oil to stay in the pan. And now what you would do is go ahead and grab your cardboard and back up the drain plug all the way. So my catch pan here is pretty big, and I'm going to go ahead and just remove this back now. Alright, so the oil is draining here, and there's a lot of oil in here, so this may take some time. And after this has drained for about 10 to 15 minutes, Go ahead and start twisting the oil filter out completely, and do not remove it. Just make sure it's loose, and you want all that oil to go ahead and go down through the oil pan and not make a big mess. So we're going to go ahead and wait a few more minutes, and that oil is still draining. And while the oil is draining, I did want to show you guys what's included in the filter kit here. So we have the filter, and we have two O-rings. So you got a bigger O-ring and a smaller O-ring, which we're going to go ahead and change out. Here is going to be my drain plug, and the drain plug over here at the tip is magnetic on this 907 VS30. And you're supposed to go ahead and change out this particular crush washer every single time. Well guys, I forgot to go ahead and order one of these. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I did and when I worked at a shop, because this is pretty common. And so if you guys are in the same predicament, you guys can go ahead and get yourself out of it. And what it involves is going to be some sandpaper. So you want to grab yourself some sandpaper, preferably 200 grit. And you want to go ahead and put the sandpaper flat like this and work the washer back and forth in a circular motion on both sides until you get this to be completely solid and free of any peaks and valleys. And then you can go ahead and reuse this, and you want to make sure you don't wear out the washer too much. So you could probably get away with doing this maybe once or twice, but you can't do it forever, as the washer is just going to get thinner and thinner. So you start off with 200 grit, and you want to finish off with 500 or 600 grit, and this is the way it's going to look. And now it's free of any peaks and valleys, and it's going to go ahead and create a nice seal. Again, I'll have links to this in the video description box down below, so if you want to buy these by the dozen, you definitely can. You don't have to end up paying $5 per crush washer. So the oil is barely dripping. You can see a very thin line right there. So let's go ahead and jack up that passenger side now. And you can see a little bit more oil is coming out. So you want to go ahead and let that drain all the way now. And the higher up you lift, the more oil comes out. So I barely got the wheel off the ground. And it's pouring now. So let that drain. And now we're going to go ahead and completely remove the oil filter. And the oil filter should be pretty much dry now. There's the oil filter. So it's pretty much dry, which is great. And let's go ahead and get the oil filter out with the rings that are located here and here. And the way I get these oil seals off is I go ahead and use a pick like this, but you want to make sure you do not scratch the metal. So be very careful and just take your time and do not overstretch the rings when you're putting them back in. To remove this oil filter, just go ahead and wiggle and pull up. And if you want to go ahead and clean your oil filter housing, you definitely can. You can grab some brake cleaner and just spray around this. So one ring is off. Let's go ahead and remove this ring now. So I went ahead and cleaned up my oil filter housing here with some brake cleaner. And I'm going to go ahead and put the oil ring here. Take my time and do not overstretch it. Make sure it's seated in the right track. Grab the smaller ring here, pop that into place. Get a thin layer of oil around both of the rings here and just massage it in. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and grab my oil filter here, and you do want to use a good oil filter brand like Man if possible, and just go ahead and put it into place, and you should hear this crack. Right when you hear that crack or that pop towards the bottom, this is seated well in here. And now we're going to go ahead and put this back in the vehicle. And you want to go ahead and torque this down to the specified torque settings. And I use amsoil.com to go ahead and get the torque specs. So if you happen to have a gasoline version of this vehicle and you want to know the difference as far as oil capacity and the torque settings, amsoil.com is where you want to go ahead and look that up. And I'm going to go ahead now and torque this for my vehicle, which is going to be 18 foot-pounds of torque, or about 25 newton meters, using a torque wrench. There you go. It is torqued. So oil filter is back in. I'm going to go ahead and put the drain plug back in, and the oil has stopped flowing other than an occasional drip. And you can see how much oil this car really holds. If you want to take good care of your vehicle, I'm actually going to start probably changing this every 10,000 miles, as this is really fast. And yeah, these sprinters are just getting more and more expensive, so you may want to look into that as well. And if you guys are enjoying this video, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up, because I take a lot of time to go ahead and give you guys the most concise videos that can go ahead and save you guys time and money. Thank you again. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the drain plug back in, and I'll display the actual torque specs here for the drain plug on the screen here for you guys. If you're not really familiar with how tight you should really make this, it will help you guys out if you guys have a torque wrench and you want to get that snug, but do not over tighten it. So drain plug is tight. I'm going to go ahead and lower the vehicle before I add the oil back in. And I do use one of these jack pad rubber puck things right here. That really helps the vehicle from getting damaged, and it's about $5. So if you guys want to take a look at it, not a bad investment. And I've had this one for about 5 or 6 years. And now I'm going to go ahead and add the oil in. So the vehicle calls for 13.2 quarts. This is going to be 5 1/4 quarts almost. And so what I want to do is go ahead and put the 5-liter bucket that I'm only going to use partially. So I got it about 2.5, and these two right here on the ground equal 10.5. So I got about 13 quarts here. And you always want to start off with making sure that you cannot overfill it by accident at the end. So go ahead and do it this way. So again, car is back on the ground, oil filter is in, drain plug is in, and we're going to go and fill this puppy up now. Get the last bit of oil in there, and make sure you do not overfill, guys. It's really important because these 907 Sprinters do not have a dipstick. So if you overfill your motor, you're going to go ahead and cause damage. And B, you cannot go ahead and suck the oil out. Instead, you're most likely going to have to go and remove the drain plug and remove a little excess oil. And that is a big hassle. So this is what I always recommend. Do the partials first, and then go ahead and dump in the rest of the oil. And you can be guaranteed that you guys are going to have a nice and proper oil change. There we go. We're all done. And now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to reset the reminder light for the oil service, as well as show you how to check the oil level. So to go ahead and reset the oil reminder here for your Mercedes, you want to go ahead and turn the ignition on. So position 1, and the way you do that is touch this button, and you want to make sure all the gauges go ahead and cycle. Hold on to the left button here for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to go ahead and hit the middle button here, and this will pop up. You're going to go ahead and scroll down to right here. This is where you're going to go into the Assist Plus. It tells you to go ahead and turn on the ignition now. It lets me know that I'm a little bit past due on my service. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the arrow key back. Go into the service data. If you want to take a look at this, you can. To get out of this menu, hit back, go into full service. And right here, you're going to come down to where it says confirm service. And now you just go ahead and choose the grade of oil you're putting in. So we have the 0.52, 0.31, 0.51, and lastly, we have the 228.51. So those are going to be the four possible choices to go ahead and put in. Mine is going to be the 0.31. I'm going to select it. Has the service been carried out? Yes. It says withdrawal not possible. So you're going to go ahead and confirm. The full service is now done. And now I have no more reminder lights here. And now that we got the service light reminder reset, oil has been changed, let's go ahead and start up the vehicle. So vehicle started. Now I'm going to show you how to check the oil level. When your vehicle is parked on a flat surface, you want to go ahead and use this enter in this back key to go ahead and access the service menu here. And when you access the service menu, which is all the way on the left, hit this in and it'll have the oil level and it'll display for you the oil level. If you're a little bit low, go ahead and add a quarter quart at a time when you're on a flat surface to go ahead and get the perfect level, and you are all set. I hope you found the video on the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter oil change to be helpful. If it was, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, guys. It really helps the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. So anytime I post videos about the Sprinter, you guys will get notified. And you guys can check out the whole Sprinter van conversion playlist. So if you guys ever thought about doing this, I'm going to walk you guys through this from beginning till the end. And you guys can be on the road with your Sprinter, enjoying it on the open road. Make it a great day. Thanks.